Alright lads, this is fenn3r from fenn3r's and welcome to fenn3r's Fundamentals. Build Orders. A build order is a series of steps written out to make it easier to follow and remember strategies in StarCraft 2. Kinda similar to how music is written out to make it easy to play songs, but it won't take you years and years to learn how to read build orders. In fact, we'll learn it in about 5 to 10 minutes right now. The advantage of using build orders are that they simplify everything, giving you a specific point based on supply when to perform an action. Sometimes this point is based on time or an event rather than supply. This means that you can build up your economy much more efficiently and fluently, and after a while of practicing, these builds will become solidified in your memory. And once they're solidified in your memory, you'll be able to execute them without thinking, which leaves more space in your brain, like more brain space to, for other key aspects of the game like strategy. So let's take a look at a simple example build order for Zerg. So it says 9 Overlord, 15 spawning pool, 16 hatchery. How do I read that shit? It's pretty simple, but some things are assumed automatically in build orders, like building drones, so drones are never listed in a build order. The numbers on the left of the build are the supply count at which you perform a certain action. You get to that supply count by producing drones. So the first action in the build order is to build a 9 Overlord. So as soon as you get 9 to 9 supply from building drones, then you want to build the Overlord as soon as you've got the minerals to do so. The supply count is the number to the left of the supply slash, so if you're 9 out of 10, then it's the 9. The next action in the build order is to build a 15 spawning pool. So after building your 9 Overlord, you want to build drones all the way up until 15 supply, and then as soon as you get to 15 supply, and you've got the minerals to do so, you want to grab a drone and go ahead and build a spawning pool on 15 supply. Next up in the build order is building a hatchery on 16 supply. So just like the previous parts, you build drones all the way up to 16 supply, which in this build order is from 14 because you sacrificed a drone to build the spawning pool, which means you go back down to 14 supply, and then you go drone to 15, drone to 16, and then it's assumed in build orders that every hatchery that you build is at a new base. So in this case, it's just the first hatchery you're going to build. It's going to be at the closest base that you can build it, which is known as your natural hatchery. So as soon as you got 16 supply and you're getting close to 300 minerals, send that drone down to the natural hatchery and then build a hatchery. Just build a hatchery on 16 supply. Sometimes people like to make things complicated. Sometimes you'll find other weird things listed in build orders, but they're usually quite self-explanatory. So here's one right now. This says at 75 minerals, build an evolution chamber. So what this means, which you can probably figure it out for yourself, once you get to 75 minerals after performing the last action in the build order, then you want to go ahead and build an evolution chamber. This can usually time out builds a bit better when the timing just doesn't time out with the supply so well. But yeah, it's quite self-explanatory. Another example is at 100% queen, build a roach warren. So as soon as you get 100% on your queen, aka your queen finishes from your hatchery, then you go ahead and drop a roach warren. It just helps time out some builds because they don't always time out with supply perfectly. Assume things. As I already said, there are some assumed things in build orders. That's because these things are usually like the fundamentals where you should be doing them automatically anyway. So people don't really type them in because they become really lengthy to type out. For example, injecting would be an example. You always should be injecting unless it states otherwise that you're going to get a creep gym or something like that. But basically, every time you've got the energy, you should be injecting, and people aren't going to put that in a build order, because you should be doing it. Something else, when your extractor finishes, then you should be putting 3 drones in it, because why build an extractor if you're not going to put drones in it? Sometimes a build order might say, oh, put 1 drone in the extractor, just to time out things. But yeah, most of the time, there's a lot of assumed things, but you will pick them up really easily as you go along, and I won't really need to say them. They're pretty obvious anyway. So yeah, that's it. Pretty simple. Now you know how to read build orders. Good stuff. Attack moving is done simply by pressing your attack key, which is your hotkey. Usually that's A, but with group hotkeys it's T, and if you change your hotkeys to something crazy, then it's something else. And then clicking somewhere on the map, not an enemy unit or hero.